sports reporting. It's a 15-yard penalty. First down. You know nothing about sports.
Nuts prod, not the beats.
You know nothing about sports.
You said we're live. We're on the record.
We're on the road.
We are officially on the record.
Uh-huh.
Allergies and all.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. Thanks,
Yeah.
B, for reminding me about that, man. Because when I went out there to cut the grass earlier, and when I came back in, man, I just felt like I was tired. I'm like, man, I said, I don't have a headache, man. I just feel like I'm drained. What the heck?
Man.
Allergies.
I did like a 4-mile walk on Saturday. No, yesterday. Came back like right here, just felt right there.
See, I was popping Claritin. Well, I popped one today, but I've added something to that I just got put onto. This is Dollar General brand because I'm cheap, but
Not cheap.
this
Called affordable.
Yeah, frugal. Anyway, this nasal spray
Right.
for cold and allergies. This stuff works wonders. Like earlier, I sounded like Urkel on crack, but now, because of this stuff, I took it I did it probably like around 12 o'clock. But anyway, works wonders, man.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little. I might have to take something myself, man. Like my nose, like right here, my nose and part of my head, man. I feel like it's stuffy, man.
Yeah, because we don't get no spring no more.
Yeah.
God, dog it, man.
Man, we're in so much of a drought here. It doesn't make any sense. Like, we haven't had hardly any rain. We're supposed to get some this week, but
Hey, look, man, I'm going to say this because we're on the record, man. Whenever y'all do move again, please.
Our movers.
Yeah, we did that. The thing
of course.
The thing I'm going to say is, you may have to police what your wife have. Because all the stuff my wife came out of, I said, did you realize you had this much stuff? No, I said, okay, well.
Bruh, moving made me realize that somehow, some way, women have the ability to hide stuff under the carpet. Because I swear I hadn't seen any of that stuff before we moved.
Right, man.
And then when we get in that, like right now, our garage, we still have boxes. Like, we've been in this house for 3 years. We still have boxes in our garage that we need to go through from when we moved.
Look, all that
3
stuff
years
down
later.
here in the storage area in the basement. A makeshift gym we got in there, right though. We got a treadmill and a couple of bikes in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we're gonna talk. What we talking about first?
We going East or we're gonna talk about the NBA playoffs? We're gonna start with the East or we're gonna start with the West?
We start with East.
All right, so we didn't do a podcast before the NBA playoffs started, but this is just our way of talking about it now and then previewing the future, because we probably won't talk about this on air again. On our tweet, on our text, it's gonna be live, but not so much. Not so much. All right, so we're gonna talk about the East. So I guess let's start with the series that's already over with. the Bucks and the Heat.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, I watched all those games, man, and the Heat didn't have an answer. They didn't. They only had one player that was like balling with his coach, Jimmy Butler. They had a couple of other like role players, man, that did a few things, but they just couldn't keep up with the Bucks, man. Bucks ran them out the arena.
Kennedy said something really interesting via text that was very, very true. And he said, and Sean, you remember, he said that last year's trip to the finals in the bubble was a fluke. It was a fluke.
Yeah.
What you said, you mentioned Jimmy Butler. part of the Heat's problem the series during the series with the Bucks was he didn't show up. Jimmy from last year was nowhere to be found this year, and part of that I credit to the Bucks defense because they get talked about a lot, obviously for Giannis, and then for their ability to shoot the ball, to shoot the three. But I think a very underrated aspect of that team, especially for this series, was their defense.
Yeah, they do play defense,
and their ability to limit. They basically made Bam Adebayo a non-factor. He was a non-factor the entire series. They took their jump shooters out. Duncan Robinson, they took him out. Hero was nowhere to be found. So
on the court, at the club on the beach, Hero was.
What's the other dude? What's Goran's last name, man?
Dragic.
Yeah,
he need a.
It got so bad. It got so bad that I started seeing tweets about Kendrick Nunn's next contract, and how he might get a whopping contract.
But you know what, man? The funny thing about this, K-Man B, is Will, I really thought you were gonna say it, man. You forgot. You was talking about Jimmy. Jimmy was down.
Yeah. Jimmy couldn't make a shot. Jimmy was bad on defense.
What you think, K-Man?
All right. So first thing I want to say, because I am a Houston Rockets fan, that we won that trade. And we won that trade because Pat Riley, who is really, really good at his job, overestimated last year's bubble team. So he thought that going to get Oladipo was going to be that final answer that they were going to have. And Oladipo, he still ain't fully ready. And they gave up a 1 and Kelly Olynyk, which doesn't seem like much, but Kelly Olynyk in Stephen Silas' system was great. Mm-hmm. As we talked about, the bubble, everybody got to remember, like before the NBA, the bubble started, the Heat were like middling, but the bubble was going to test you organizational wise. And that's why you saw the Heat is a fabulous organization. They were able to adjust, and then they had it. The Lakers, for organization, I don't think they're right there, but they got LeBron James, who is so smart and knows how to put everybody where they need to be, and that's where you found it. The two most bubble-ready teams got to play in the playoffs, and the best team won. The Heat, once again, they went into the season not really fully knowing what last year was a fluke. It was organizational wise, you got to the finals, but you're not like in a normal NBA season, you're not ready. And the Bucks also are a different team. Mm-hmm. Drew Holiday, we laughed about the trade, but
that was a good trade.
He's showing the strength that he had. PJ Tucker is showing. Bobby Portis.
But what you said came in all those in what people don't know about the Bucks, man. The Bucks play defense.
Yeah,
right. And that's where people talk bad about PJ Tucker since the trade, from that trade on, because he didn't shoot that well. It took time for him to get into a groove with that team. And that happens. But PJ Tucker to me, he really never has been a regular season player. PJ Tucker is a playoff roster filler. He's a playoff roster type player that you would want on your roster. A gritty veteran that can defend 2 or 3 positions.
Also, the offense was totally different. Yeah. In Houston, you had one guy dribbling, drives, and kick it out. What's the name's offense? The Bucks offense. They run, they motion, they move around. So it threw PJ off. So he wasn't always standing in a corner looking for a 3. He had to actually do some stuff. I saw him making layups. I'm like, you know how to make layups?
Oh, I didn't know anybody played on the Rockets except James Harden. I never knew they had other teammates.
Wait a minute, man.
2018 they did.
Which one of y'all said that Chris Middleton's game is ugly? One of y'all.
Man. I don't like the way he dribbles. I just don't. It looks too stiff. Because of his torso, he looks so stiff in his dribbling. It just looks too stiff.
It's because his head is too small for his body. He has a small head.
Yes, he does.
I'm serious. Like, look at next time they play, look at his head in relation to the rest of his body.
Yeah.
He has a small head, wide hips.
Wide shoulders?
Yeah.
But my man he be knocking down some threes,
What
man.
can shoot the lights out of the gym.
Sure,
You know who he reminds me of? And don't laugh at me for this. He reminds me of Christian Laettner. Not really all that athletic. Can shoot it out the gym. And just to the eye, he doesn't look all that impressive. Huh?
Yeah. But on the NBA level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought one of y'all was gonna say he'd be hitting shots like Robert Horry.
He'll
Robert
never be as clutch as Robert Horry.
No, Robert was athletic, even though gangly, he was he was go watch him his first 5 years in the league in Houston and LA. Watch his movement, the way he moved. He was really gangly.
He was Kramer with a jump shot.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what he reminded me of when he said gangly.
A Raymond Massey type. Raymond Massey type physique.
But
Who said that? Was that Calvin Klein when he went to go meet with Calvin Klein?
No, man.
And he was going to meet with him. He was going to confront him about the cologne, but then they told him about the underwear.
That was at the Alex Theater.
Oh yeah.
Remember, he was trying to get it. He wanted to find somebody to fit in the, but crazy. No, not with your Raymond and Massey like physique.
Yeah.
We need a more shorter, portly guy.
Yeah. But man, I'm telling you, the Bucks. I think it's gonna be the Bucks and the Nets, man.
Well, they play in the next round.
They play next round.
Yeah, they play the next round.
So, that series is going to say a lot. I think you're going to see, you're going to see Brooklyn struggle a little bit, which is night and day from what you're seeing now with the Celtics. I mean,
we can talk about that right now. I mean,
yeah. I think you're gonna see them struggle a little bit because the Celtics, while they play hard, they're decent. They're decently coached, but they were missing their second star, and so Brooklyn hasn't really had to work hard. I believe if they really wanted to close them out, they could have, despite 50 from Tatum.
Mm-hmm. They could have.
But I think you're gonna see them struggle a little bit against the Bucks because the Bucks have been together. They have chemistry. True. And they D up. They play defense. They can match up. I don't know if I would put Giannis on KD. I would probably put PJ Tucker on KD. But PJ Tucker doesn't start, so I don't know. That's something that Buttonholes are gonna have to figure out for himself. I ultimately expect the Nets to beat the Bucks, but I think it's going to probably be a 6 or 7 game series.
Yeah, I think it's going to at least 6. Then look, go ahead, K-Man.
Well, see, I don't really know the Nets. I have not watched them play at all this season because James Harden isn't going to trigger, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to watch them this time. So I don't really know how good they are. I mean, I know they got 3 stars, but I don't know how good they are as a whole team. I don't know how well they're coached. So I saw all 3 games of the Heat versus the Bucks because there was no purpose of watching Game 4. I already knew it was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, I know how the NBA works. It's based off a star league. So not seeing them, I would give Brooklyn a 54% chance of winning that series. Just based off. And now, had I seen them, it could go higher, but it could go lower.
It's going to be interesting, man, because like I say, I watched a lot of the Brooklyn Nets games, man, and they have players that can turn it on when they want to.
Yeah.
And it seems like this playoff, I've only seen all three of those guys on the court at the same time, maybe 5 or 6 times, if that.
Right.
Because it seems like it's Kyrie and KD on the same, run, but then one or two of those guys come out, then it'll be Harden running a point. I'm looking at it now. KD and Kyrie not even on the floor, and Harden running the point. So I'm like, okay, he can score. We know Kyrie can score. KD can score. And they got the Nets actually got a pretty decent bench. They got some guys that got playoff experience and that can come in and give you 12 to 15 points.
Yeah,
but
and that was
go ahead.
That was one of the things I was gonna point to was the bench, and I mean a lot of people, including myself, laughed at the Blake Griffin signing when it went down, but just watching them in the playoffs, I mean, the dude, I mean he's elevated that second. He may even be starting now. I can't remember because Aldridge retired. Start. Yeah. So yeah, he's brought a whole nother type of energy. I mean, he's not that high flying dude like he used to. I mean, he can still get up,
right?
But he's brought another energy to that team. And then the other thing I was going to allude to was when Kyrie is on the floor, Harden is still running the point. Kyrie is playing off the ball, and we're kind of seeing an aspect of Kyrie's game that we've never really seen before in him playing off the ball and moving without the ball, kind of like a Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm.
So I've never really known Kyrie to be a lethal jump shooter, but when he's able to play free and play off the ball and run around screens and back cuts and all of that, Kyrie is a monster.
He was killing that one game. He couldn't miss, man. When I seen him come off the screens, I was like, what?
Yeah. But the only thing that scares me is just you never know when he's gonna check out mentally. Because he's even said, he's on the record this year, he said basketball is not the most important thing right now. So anybody that says something like that, I'm wary of, because I just don't know when he's going to check out.
Well, this is my question. We know everything that they can do. But I got one question because I've never seen them play and they've never experienced it. Can they take a punch? Because collectively, because I know each individual player on that team can't take a punch. As individuals, they can't take a punch. They soft.
I've watched this series, man, and I can say they can take a punch. But
Boston doesn't have. Boston currently, as currently constructed, don't have punchers.
Right.
There you go. But I'm saying they can take a punch because I've seen Boston run up some points. They had some pretty decent leads, but when them three start clicking, man, either KD has started or Kyrie has started or James Harden has started. And when they get going, that's what gets them back in the game.
Yeah, even guys off their bench, like Luwawu Cabarrot, I think is his dude's last name. Dude can shoot, man.
Landry Shamet, he can shoot.
He can shoot. Second coming of the PBS logo behind Klay Thompson, but yeah, he can really shoot. He can really shoot. Funny looking dude, but he can shoot.
Yeah. Look like he's losing some hair, but that's just me. But they got some pretty decent players, man.
And so, and then also, can we seen the Bucks get punched and then fall down? They didn't get no punches from Miami. So
true. I'm gonna switch gears. Right. Here's another interesting series: Atlanta and Memphis.
Atlanta and
Memphis?
New York. You got Utah and Memphis.
Oh, Utah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Utah and Memphis. Who's Atlanta playing in?
The Knicks.
The Knicks.
Oh, that's what.
We still in the East. Oh, I got one more thing to say about Boston and the
Nets.
Nets. Even though we didn't talk about Boston, after the series is over with, Danny Ainge needs to get fired.
He might.
I agree.
08 was a long time ago. Before 08, you've been in that job a long time. You pulled off one of the greatest heists, fleecing the then New Jersey Nets into taking Asian KG and the Asian Paul Pierce, and you got all those number ones. And what do you have to show for it?
Nothing.
Only person you got is what's you didn't do anything with those picks. You didn't do anything. You have wasted time after time. Danny Ainge needs to get fired.
Have they even won a playoff series since Miami? Or since Miami took over the East? You know, when they had the big three? I honestly don't remember them winning a playoff series since then.
That's strange. I'm about to look that up, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't they make the Eastern Conference Finals?
I thought they did, like, what, 4 years ago, something like that?
Who did, let's see. Yeah, that's one we're gonna have to look up.
Yeah, look that up. But
hadn't been many, I do know that.
Yeah.
Look, the reason I brought up Atlanta and say the Knicks, man, because I think of course, you know, I'll be watching ESPN sometimes.
Yeah,
and
all the time.
Look, listen to Stephen A. Smith. Oh yeah, the Knicks are back. I'm like, man, if you don't sit down.
See, the Knicks, we talked about it a little bit the other day. They have a good foundation now because they hired the right coach. Atlanta, those kids have been together they've been together for 2-3 years. So that there's a little, there's some camaraderie there. And shout out to Nate McMillan, man. I said this the other day. Nate McMillan doesn't get he doesn't get the credit that he deserves for the job that he's doing, even though, Kennedy feels some type of way about Trae Young. I actually think the kid's a beast, but that him, Nate McMillan, and then Bogdanovich, they're a big reason why them dudes are about to put out the Knicks. Now, I thought the Knicks would put up a better fight, given how they closed out the season, given how strong they look, given how strong Julius Randle looked, comeback player of the year. I thought that they would put up a better fight. But again, they're young, and they're growing.
Atlanta's shooting them out the gym, man.
And to me, the Atlanta has better players. Like the Atlanta, to me, has a better quality roster, like top to bottom. Coaching, I maybe would give the edge to Thibodeau, but I think Atlanta has the roster edge.
Yeah, Nate's a good coach, man. Yeah, because he you notice once he took that team over, they started winning and playing defense.
Right. Because Nate, if you think back to the teams that Nate had in Indiana, I mean, Nate, he took some, dare I say, scrubs, and had them in the postseason. So,
what you got, K-Man?
All right, so Brad Stevens has won a couple series.
Okay.
In this tenure in Houston. I mean, Boston. So I would say this about Nate McMillan. He's smart because he was supposed to be like the number 2 assistant in Houston, but then the Atlanta job came up, and he just figured that dude's been there a while. If he get fired, I'll take over. So very smart move by Nick. What I will say about the Knicks is, and I mean this, it's no disrespect when I say this, they don't belong in the playoffs. Once again, I didn't watch the NBA season, and I know how good Thibodeau is. But I kept remember hearing, like, look, the Knicks, all that. I'm like, the Knicks are good? I'm like, who do they get? I mean, I know they got the coach, but who do they get to make themselves better. So they just got hot. What I'm saying about them is, like what Brandon just said, Atlanta's been together like 2 to 3 years. The Knicks only been together 1. They're overachieving. They're not supposed to be in this position yet. Like the 4 seed, not yet. This is like 2022, 2023. So what's happening to them is they're showing that they're not like seasoned yet.
Right.
But they're heading toward the right path. They only got overhyped because they're in New York City, and the media and all those media types hyped them up, and celebrity Knicks fans hyped them up. But you know a good team when you see it, and they're just not there yet. And they're building because it's been bad since Dolan took over.
Time.
Since Dolan took over in 98 and 99, they're not consistent. So they're building on the right way. So, Leon Rose might be doing something right. You got Thibodeau. So, I know they're going to lose. They shouldn't hold their heads low. I mean, you got the 4th seed, you got the experience, you just build on from that.
Yeah, they overachieved.
You look at it from a Knicks fan standpoint, like a Stephen A.
Yeah.
They've been the butt of every joke for how many years now?
Trying to win the lottery how many years? Crying about not winning the lottery.
I mean, they even screwed up Phil Jackson's reputation.
Isaiah Thomas.
So if you look at this thing from a Knicks fan standpoint, and you finally see progress as an organization, like after years of being inept and what's the word I'm looking for? Stupid under James Dolan, doing dumb things. I mean, you start to see a little light at the end of the tunnel, and to me, it doesn't look like luck. It looks like organic growth. It looks like a young team growing under a very good coach that's headed in the right direction. Arrow pointing up.
I mean, look at Derek Fisher, how his reputation has dropped down, and over the years since playing because of the Knicks and being the NBA player president doing that awful deal, and the other thing.
I was gonna say Matt Barnes didn't help.
I'm like,
And look on the Knicks, man.
I don't want no smoke with. I don't want no smoke with with Kwame Brown or Matt Barnes. I don't want none of that. It's a small little pot. I want to grow it, but I don't want to grow it that way.
Your boy looked pretty good with him. Derrick Rose, man.
Yeah,
he's the only thing I'm rooting for the Knicks. He's the only thing I'm rooting for because incredible talent. The injuries took away his greatness. The youngest MVP in NBA history.
Yeah, because didn't he have like 2 knee ligament damages and one on each knee?
2 ACLs. And then I want to say he had a meniscus too.
Yeah.
Because you remember before, like you said, K-Man, before the injuries, my man was flying and dunking like crazy. I was like, man.
At 6'3", just pogo sticks in the leg.
You know who he reminded me of? Steve Francis.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A more offensively gifted Steve Francis, but athletic wise.
Derek's way more athletic than Steve Francis.
You think so?
Yeah. But here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at, because like I say, I watched the Knicks series, you can see how he changed his game. He knows he's older. He knows his knees are probably not like that. So he's starting to get more people involved in the game. That's what I like about Derrick Rose. I seen him do some good dimes, man. I was like, oh.
But you also got to remember, I mean, in those Chicago days, like, who was his number 2 option? Joakim Noah? I'm like, he had to do everything by himself.
Well, true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see
Todd
that.
Gibson, what we doing?
Who's still in the league, by the way. Somehow.
Yeah, I know.
I know, right? I saw that. I'm like, man, he playing with the Knicks. I'm like, how long this dude been in the league?
And I don't dislike Trae Young. My issue is I'm born a certain age. I watch certain basketball. When I once again, when I saw him shoot the ball, it looked like he was pushing a medicine ball. It had no arc or anything. He was like, ugh!
Okay. All right. Okay. So let me ask you this. Dennis Schroeder does the same thing. Do you dislike Dennis Schroeder because he does like that?
He wind up and shoot.
Yeah.
I dislike Dennis Schroeder for a lot of things.
Yeah, that daggone highlight he got. Look at that.
No. That's that European thing because what's the name? Capella got that too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But look here, man. The Wizards won a game.
It's not about the Wizards.
But look, Embiid went out, and they were making fun of him, right? Because they were talking about, wait a minute, he landed on his back. How his knee hurt? And I was like, and I thought about it. I said, wait a minute. Yeah, how did he hurt his knee?
Embiid and Anthony Davis share physical genetics in that no matter how good they're currently playing, they're always at risk for something. They're always at risk for something happening to their body. It is what it is.
I got a question for you.
They're so good that you live with it, but you just never know when it's going to strike.
How in the heck did Philly get the number 1 seed?
Well, they ran up and they were consistent, and other teams had ups and downs. Milwaukee had their ups and downs. I think at one point Milwaukee was at the 4 seed, and they stayed consistent. Embiid, I don't believe Embiid. I don't like the Embiid and Anthony Davis comparison, and I will say this why.
And that they're injury prone?
But they're not the same. Like Embiid has had injuries since we heard of his name in Kansas. Like Anthony Davis in Kentucky, we never had it.
He only played 1 year though, right?
Yeah. And as a Pelicans fan, I think Anthony Davis injuries just started like the last 5 years.
Right. Mm-hmm.
While Embiid has always been injured. I think this is the first season he with almost played like 70 games, and he still missed games because he was injured. He's just injury prone. I don't. As far as Philly, them losing to the Wizards told me all I need to know about them. I mean, I already had some issues when I watched them play, but them losing to the Wizards showed me they're gonna beat Atlanta, but whoever they play in the Eastern Conference Finals are going to wipe the floor with them.
Wow, okay, man.
If you pay attention to an Embiid, for a big man, for a dude who's 7'1", 7'2", 300 pounds, when he gets a position on the block, it's still always high. When he grabs the ball, he doesn't snag the ball. He just goes, like I'm tall, I grab it. No, look at the way look at the way Robin Lopez grabs the ball versus the way Embiid grabs the ball. It's something about them. It's just that I haven't seen that once.
But Robin Lopez is, I would dare to say he's a lot more athletic than Embiid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that helps.
True.
That helps, especially when it goes to catching the ball in the post or getting rebounds and stuff.
Because
he doesn't get, but catching the ball in the post and putting your body in position in the post. Embiid doesn't. He floats too much. He floats too much in the perimeter. I don't like. I love how during the start of TNT NBA pregame show, they talked about Scott Brooks. Scott Brooks used to be a teammate of Hakeem Olajuwon, but he was like third string point guard. And he said, "Oh, he reminds me of Hakeem." And they asked Kenny, and Kenny pretty much went, "He's a good player. He's a good player." But he didn't want to crap on the kid, but he just like, he ain't him.
Because he's sensitive.
He's not him. And he's talking about and he said a good word, relentlessness. I can't even speak today. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have that. Neither does Ben Simmons. It's the 1-2 on both ends of the floor. And that's why I just don't believe that they are going to do anything.
That's what puzzles me, Kate, man. I'm like, how in the heck did they get the number 1 seed? I said, I've been watching this basketball this whole season. I've seen Philly play, and I'm like, just like you said, we were joking, being like, Mandelbaum, you got to want it. They don't. Because my thing is, Simmons, dude, your free throws suck. Why don't you practice on that? Get in the gym, man. Do something. They kept hacking him, and I'm like, oh my God.
And I put that squarely on the shoulders of Doc Rivers. You got to know your personnel and know, the strengths and weaknesses of your roster. And, while Ben Simmons is, in the offseason putting together dunk mixtapes and whatnot and practicing shooting threes, no. Last night, you lost that game off of free throws.
Yeah.
You pretty much lost that game off of free throws. Because they were hacking him.
Yeah.
At the end of the game.
Do you notice that I've never seen him hit a runner?
I can't say that I have either.
It was, and he doesn't have that much, as far as dunking, he does. But as far as anything else, he doesn't have that much touch around the basket.
Yeah.
For a layup or just a scoop in. So I don't know.
That's not his game, because he's always been billed, even he was at LSU, because of his height. They kept trying to build him as the next Magic Johnson. He's 6'8", 6'9", he can distribute the ball, and they would say he would rather make a good pass than score a basket.
See, that's
but
the
Magic
myth
was still offensively skilled.
Thank you. That's the myth that people always say about Magic Johnson. They said the same thing about Jason Kidd. No, Magic still scored. He still knew various ways how to score. Go back to his Game 6 in 1980, him scoring 42 points. He played center. He was in the post. This dude, he want to dribble. It's great that you know how to pass. That's great. But at the end of the day, you got to score. And if your number 1 goes down, you got to take over.
Exactly.
And you're playing the Wizards.
Yeah, exactly. And I was gonna say they lost to the Wizards last night. The Wizards didn't win because Russell Westbrook had a triple-double. We know that much is gonna happen. The reason why the reason why I crap on Russell Westbrook so much. Listen to this stat line, okay? 19 points, 21 rebounds, 14 assists, 2 steals, +1, plus minus, 3 for 19 from the field.
+1?
Plus
you had
1.
You had 21 rebounds and you're a +1.
See, that's the thing that's the type thing. See, when people look at a box score, they look at 4 categories. They don't look at the turnovers, the plus minus. They don't look at any of that stuff. You go to the plus minus, he is still one of, if not the most inefficient player to ever walk on a basketball floor. For somebody who has the ball in his hand as much as he does, and you're only a +1. That's my Russell Westbrook tangent for this segment, for this podcast. But I wanted to point that out because I saw people on Twitter today. They won't even mention Bradley Beal. Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't that efficient from the field either. But he was 9 of 23. He had a few more shots than Russell did. But people are saying, "Oh, can the Wizards make history?" With Russell Westbrook at the helm. I'm like, so you're going off of last night's triple-double. You're going off of those 3 stat categories. You didn't look at the rest of the box score. You're just going off of those 3 stat categories, huh? Okay. All right. Go down with shit.
Because what happened last night is, so the Wizards, they're on death row. And last night was their lobster and steak.
And look, we're not talking about the record label.
And caramel cheesecake and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, you're going to the chair.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, you're going in the chair. Now, the thing I saw yesterday was I saw Brad. His shoe fell off, and then something happened to his hamstring, and they mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yet he still played, and that right there is what Philly doesn't have. They ain't got that.
Yep.
They got talent. They just ain't got that part.
So is Embiid out for the next game?
Yes, he's doubtful.
Yes, because they don't really need him in the next game.
If Tobias Harris is on.
Yeah.
J. Cole?
Yeah, J. Cole light.
Yeah. Which is
he coming to light a bottle.
Yeah.
You know the Mountain Dew?
Yeah.
You got Mountain Dew, and then you got Diet Mountain Dew that's slightly lighter than the yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, because Toby can hit some shots.
But Toby ain't all that efficient either.
Nope.
Toby takes a lot. He led the team in shots last night. He took 24 shots. He only hit 8 of them.
Yep.
So he wasn't that much better than Russ from an efficiency standpoint. But here you go. Here you go again. Plus minus. He was -8. How much are you helping your team? Are you helping or hurting your team?
I was gonna say it's how to get hurt.
Here's my last thing on Philly. This summer, I think they should make a run at Kawhi Leonard and get themselves a true one. You put Kawhi on that team with Ben Simmons and Embiid. Most likely, Tobias got to go. That is a real team because, once again, I don't believe they have a number one, and that is their problem.
Yeah, they don't. That's a good segue, K-Man. We're gonna switch to the West, man. That's a good segue.
To the West.
Let's since you brought up Kawhi, Dallas, man, look like Dallas is misusing them dudes, man. I watched the first game I watched. I'm like, okay, Dallas like they're a pretty good team because I watched them and I wasn't convinced that Dallas was a good team. Just like I wasn't convinced that Phoenix was a good team. But now that I watched them, I'm like, wow, okay, they got some players. And Luka, they're making Luka look like all world, man. He running the lane, throw up floaters and turn around jumpers. I'm like, I said, can somebody at least guard this dude? I know he like 6'6", 6'7", but come on, man. And the Clippers seem like they're out of sync for some reason.
Not anymore.
They
kind of got their act together in Game 4. Really the tail end of Game 3, to be honest. But Game 4, they look like a different squad.
They did in that game.
They look in sync. I tell you the turning point. Game 3, they were down by 20 points in the first quarter or more.
Yeah.
I think it was, well, they may have been like 19. I think they were down as much as 30-11. And they went on a run, they caught back up to, I think, within 2 at the end of the first, and they never looked back. And just like we talked about with Brooklyn, how do they look getting hit in the mouth? Dallas got hit in the mouth of Game 3, and they still haven't got back up as a team. Porzingis,
find out tomorrow.
Where's Porzingis?
Nope.
Where's Porzingis? Because Luka, he's dealing. I mean, he's still playing, but he's dealing with something regarding his back, some kind of spinal something.
Yeah.
But he's dealing with something. So, Porzingis, where are you? You got to step up. I mean, they got all the size in the world.
Yeah.
I feel like their role players are better than the Clippers.
Hardaway Jr.
But right now, you know, credit to Tyronn Lue. I called them a lot of names the last 3 weeks. Well, really not a lot of names. I called them one name in reality, but I can't say it. I think that the arrow is pointing up on the Clippers, man. I talked a lot. I talked a crap load of junk, crap ton of junk, with the Clippers because I mean I thought that they were too frail mentally to make this a series. But credit to them, credit to Tyronn Lue, they have. Game 5 is going to tell me all I need to know about this series because whoever wins Game 5 is going to win this series. In my opinion.
Maybe my expectations for the Clippers were too high.
Yes.
Maybe that's what it is for me.
I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud?
You got two of the best players, man. You got Pat Beverly, man, that can play defense.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'm tired of I'm tired of that myth. I'm tired of that myth.
No, that's not a myth. Pat is a good defender. I ain't saying he locked down.
Pat is an annoying defender that gets under people's skin.
He's like a gnat.
He's annoying and he gets under your skin and he gets you flustered. When you get flustered, you get off your game mentally, and that's when he pounces.
Hello? That's defense.
That's what you're supposed to do, right?
That's a personality trait. That's not a basketball skill.
That's a good one there. But I'm serious. He's like that net. You know, just like I be watching TV and then somehow a bug flies onto the TV. You're like, where the heck did that come from?
Well, you're in the country, so
They're going nuts.
They're every quadrant of your yard.
But because I'm gonna tell you, when I found out Kawhi was going to the Clippers, I'm like, okay, they possibly could have the best team in the West. But early in the season, when I watched them play, I'm like, what are they doing? I'm like, Paul George missing shots. I'm like, come on, man. You got other guys that are open. Like you said.
My thing about the first two games was that's all Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle is a really good coach.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah,
he's a really good coach, and he came up with a game plan that he knows his team talent wise does not match up to them, and it worked. The problem is now the Clippers' talent is taking over, and as far as the Mavericks, I don't like their roster. You asked where Porzingis was. Look, I said this a while ago. I'm gonna say it again. He finished. Most dudes don't come back from ACL injuries, and he's the way you see him, the way you think of him as the unicorn in New York. He ain't that dude no more. And he still thinks he's that dude. He gotta switch up his game and rely, be a little bit more stronger, and be more back to the basket, less finesse. But Luka needs help. And I think Rick Carlisle's doing a lot, but he still don't got enough to make a run.
Porzingis needs some weight on his bones, man.
Ain't gonna happen.
Because just think about it. With his height, if he tries to play in the paint, they're gonna murder this little dude. I mean, this little skinny. I mean, he doesn't have the build for it, so his game has to be outside in. Has to.
The Mavericks have what I call number 2 by committee.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever can get hot behind Luka in any given game, that's their number 2 for that night. Game 1, their number 2 was Tim Hardaway Jr.
Yep.
And he might have been number 2 for game 2 as well. But they have that number 2 by committee approach, and with a good coach, you can get away with that. But when you run up against a more talented team they're more talented, like at the top of the roster, then I mean that could be a problem.
Look, we all saw what Rick Carlisle can do with a less talented team in 2011. But you need a Dirk. And what's name's not a Dirk?
The singers, huh?
Yeah. No, I'm talking about Luka. Luka's not a Dirk. He's not.
True.
But it took Dirk a while to get to being Dirk, and so currently, right now, they don't have enough. Which, unlike the Knicks, they're at the crossroads because after this season, they got to start looking about. Okay, we've been doing this a while, and we just first round exit.
Right.
To take the next step, we got to start doing some other stuff, and so that's on Cuban, and that's on the GM, and that's on Carlisle to figure out what to get around Luka to let them take that next step. Because as currently constructed, they're going to be first round exits, second round exits all the time.
Yep,
that's a good point. I agree with that one. They need to put more pieces around Luka. Definitely, like another big man, and another like a good point guard. So they got a couple. Like I said, I see this series going to 6 games, man, for some reason. But
I think it may go the distance.
they gonna go 7.
I think Rick Carlisle is too good of a coach for it not to.
He's gonna figure it out, huh?
I think he will. I think he will figure it out. He's going to focus on stopping everybody else but Kawhi and Paul George. Paul George will shoot himself out of the series. Yeah, because he wasn't that efficient. He wasn't that efficient Sunday. He was only 6 of 16 on Sunday for 20 points. Now, granted, I will say this. I will say this about Paul.
His straight backs are neat. Yeah, I would say that too.
Well, to his credit, he got a little bit of hang time now, so he's got some designs up there. So he still got his shape up is still too close together. Like he still got that square, like that Jamie Foxx square when Jamie Foxx was going through that midlife crisis and he was painting in his shape up. Yeah.
Yeah, the Jadakiss.
Oh man, y'all funny, dude.
But let me say this about Paul George. For as much as I knock on him, for all of his overratedness, all his his playoff failures, Paul George shows up every night on the defensive end of the ball.
I'll give you that.
You can put Paul George on your best player and not have to lose sleep.
I'll give you that.
So, I think when it's taken time, but he's learned to lean on that side of the ball when his shot's not falling. Last year, when his shot wasn't falling, he was nowhere to be found within 30 miles of the bubble. His head. This year, when his shot's not falling, you see a different PG. You see a more engaged PG on the defensive side of the ball. So credit to Ron Lue for that. I do.
Give you that.
Anyway.
I'll give you that one. But look, another interesting series, man, is BM coming for y'all.
Come on, come with it.
Phoenix and the Lakers, bro. I got Phoenix beating y'all, man. Hate to tell you.
I mean, I can't be mad at you for thinking that way, especially if AD is gonna, miss the remaining hopefully 3 games of this series. LeBron looks old.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like he hasn't looked this old until now. Like he's been defying father time up until now.
Yeah,
like
you can see it.
Since that high ankle sprain that he sustained in early April or tail end of March, whenever it was, LeBron he looks like a shell of himself now. He's so smart and he's so intelligent on the floor. A lot of times he's still able to do things based on him knowing what the defender is going to do or what the defense is going to do before they do it. But he's just starting to look old to me. He's never really had a go-to move. He's been he's the greatest player of all time without any moves. He's developed this baseline fadeaway that's kind of reliable.
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, he's starting to he's starting to look old, man. And I with the youth of Phoenix and how they're not afraid of us. And I credit that to two people. I credit that to Monty Williams and Chris Paul.
Yep.
Chris Paul, what he's done, what he's been able to do for that team this season. I mean, he's basically taking them from the bottom to near the top. Just his leadership, just his smarts on the court, and you can see what he's done for DeAndre Ayton.
Right.
I mean, DeAndre Ayton, he's not having to work hard. He's getting spoon fed.
And
Hey,
you got
here,
to,
come set this pick and then roll to the basket.
To your point, B, you got to remember. I don't know if y'all remember when Chris Paul was in New Orleans. Y'all know who the coach was, right?
Yeah,
Monty Williams. So I'm pretty
another underrated coach.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, as far as we're concerned, I felt midway through the season, even before the injuries to LeBron and AD, something was off about this team this year, about the Lakers. And I knew we would be good, but I didn't know if we were going to be championship good. The roster turnover that we had the offseason was very underrated. I mean, people held the signings that we did, but Montrezl Harrell, look, dude, at some point, you're just short. And it shows up a lot. If you can't beat out a 36-year-old Marc Gasol, get on the floor as the second big, thumbs up. Like, he's got, I don't know what he has going on. Maybe he's got some personal stuff going on. I don't know.
But, shout out to Montrezl Harrell, Black Lips.
Yeah. And I mean, I love Montrezl. He's work hard, fight hard dude.
I love him.
He plays hard.
I hate to get rid of him for Chris Paul.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as the Lakers are concerned, I'm not gonna count us out of this series just yet. I don't believe we're gonna win the championship, but I'm not gonna count us out of this series just yet because we still have LeBron James. But things might be too much.
I get to go.
What you got, K-Man?
All right. First things first. I think the Lakers are going to win this series. I do. I think they're going to win the series. I think they're just going to crank up their defense because that is the most consistent thing about the Lakers in the last 2 years is their defense, and that's what I'll give Vogel all the credit in the world with is the defense that he has implemented with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah.
As far as LeBron James, he's fell off since 2018. To me, I always thought the 50-point game he had in the finals was like his last, like, I'm king. And it's been slowly physically, because it's a natural thing. As people keep forgetting this thing about LeBron James. He came into the league in 2013. He had 2003.
Yeah.
8 straight years in the finals. Long playing in June, turn around in October, year after year after year. That takes a toll on you. It really does take a toll on your body. And he is a physically gifted person, but sooner or later, Father Time comes a knocking. And it's just coming to him right now. As far as the Lakers, last year's team, I wasn't that impressed with. I still believe they won the championship based off everything being in a bubble and then LeBron just being LeBron and guiding that team and being, we can do this. The distraction doesn't happen. We don't do a Daniel House. We're not doing stupid things. Focus in and win the championship. Now coming in, I didn't like some of the signings. I don't like Schroeder sign. I don't like Schroeder as a starter. I don't like him as a starter. I think he's great. I'm like him better off the bench. I don't like KP.
Contagious Paul.
I don't like him. I don't like him at all. I don't like his game at all. I don't like Kuzma at all. I don't. I just don't. Anthony Davis, he's almost like a Chris Paul, and it's like the deeper you get in, the more his body starts to get rickety in the playoffs. I still think they got enough to get these newbies because that's Phoenix. But you take Chris Paul out the mix. This is most of everybody on Phoenix's first time being in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think LeBron got enough savvy to guide this team into the next round. And if he does, he's playing a kind of slightly damaged Denver team, but we'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not winning the championship. And I think this is probably, unless this thing happens where the pattern of Chris Paul's summer always goes, where he finds another team and he ends up with a buyout with the Lakers next year, I think that'd be a perfect mix. Because now you got a true point. Now shooter comes off the bench. Now LeBron doesn't do not a lot of dribbling. Can do more load management with him. Harold, it is what it is. We make fun of Dwight Howard all the time, but I can't believe I'm saying this, but Dwight Howard not resigning kind of hurt y'all.
It really hurt.
Yeah, it really hurt y'all. It really did. It really did. And the funny thing is, he's not really doing anything with Philly. So
Nope.
I don't know the reason why he went there. And
money. They offered him more money.
He got all the money in the world.
He's on the last legs of his career.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to get that paper before he
One
retires.
big payday.
Oh, hey, I got one more thing to say about Dwight Howard. I remember someone said, I think it may have been Stephen A. Smith. I saw a clip saying, "Oh, I might look at somebody's career like Dwight Howard." Dwight Howard's a Hall of Famer, first ballot, 3 straight Defensive Players of the Year, took a team to the NBA Finals, was a part of the 2008 Olympic team. What more do you want? That is a Hall of Fame career, a basketball Hall of Fame. Everybody keeps forgetting that it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the NBA Hall of Fame.
Right. Exactly.
But and then it's Phoenix. I just think they kind of remind me of the Knicks a little bit. They just, now the Phoenix has been together way longer than the Knicks, but
yes,
it's just they're still getting their experience in that toe in the water with the playoffs. So
I think Phoenix has been together at least 4 years, right? 3 or 4 years, I think, since Devin Booker came into the league, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and I love Monty, and I think Monty knows the limitations of his team because he's been around the league a long time, basketball player wise and coach wise.
Look, man, I found this tidbit about Monty Williams. Man was born in Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Yep.
But look, went to Potomac High School in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I said, hold on, man. I looked it up. I think it was last week, and I looked it up. I said, man, I ain't know he was from Fredericksburg. Then went to Potomac. Same age as me. Yeah. I think he is. That was weird. Now look, y'all brought up Denver.
I'll say one more thing, and it's not gonna happen. But the problem I have with AD is, and the problem why I've never put AD in the top 5, because AD he's a follower, not a leader. If he were to come back healthy and take because I remember, and I think I said this to y'all. I remember after the Pelicans series against the Warriors, and I think the Warriors won 4-2. Mm-hmm. I said going into the next season, I was like, I'm putting all my money on AD being MVP, and he never took it there, but he's capable of it, and that's what I'm waiting for. Just him and Karl Anthony Towns sometimes annoy me because I know y'all got like 2 or 3 more steps up. I can actually see it. Some people, they say they see it, like Joel Embiid, he is what he is to me. I don't see any steps up. Those 2, they got 2 more steps up. It's just they haven't decided to walk up those steps.
Right.
Good point.
Yep.
Well, you going to Denver?
Yeah, brought up Denver, man. I like Denver. I like the game. Just seems to me like something's missing.
Yeah, Jamal Murray.
Yeah, Jamal Murray.
That's what it is. Did y'all see when he got hurt though?
Yeah.
I saw the clip.
I told y'all that night. I said, "Oh, he done, man."
That's
Yeah.
sad. I don't like saying that. I don't like.
And I mean, I love Jamal Murray as a player.
Oh
Like
my god.
last year, especially in the bubble, I developed a whole new respect for that kid because he put that team on his back.
Yeah.
You know, what they were able to do to the Clippers, you know, that between him and Jokic, you know, they had something special. But Jamal's he's a young kid, but he's built different. He's built in the mold of an old school player, and he plays like it. He's not soft. That's what I love most about him. He's
like,
not soft.
He's like John Stark with like talent.
Yeah.
That
That's perfect comparison.
It's not a shot to John Stark, but John Stark was bagging groceries, and John Stark made it in the NBA off a straight drive and focus, but talent-wise, it wasn't always there. But you had that focus, this athleticism and talent. Ooh, that's dynamite right there.
Yeah. With this series, I felt before the series even started, I felt like Portland was the better team.
Yeah.
All around, I felt like Portland was the better team. Just from I didn't think the Nuggets would be able to keep up from a scoring standpoint.
Right.
You know, they get play hard baskets, they get try hard baskets. You know, Jokic will get his on any given night. But going back to the trade deadline, I don't really care for Aaron Gordon's game. He's trying to be a two guard in like a small forward or a power forward's body.
Right.
And parts of his game that he should have been developing, he said, forget that. I'm going out on the perimeter. I'm gonna be a perimeter scorer. And that's not what Denver needed. And to me, he doesn't. He's like to me, he's kind of like a square. He's kind of like a square trying to fit into a circle, like a square peg trying to fit into a circle. Talented dude. Can he jump out of the gym? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like that's not what Denver needed. And he's not consistent enough of a shooter, of an outside shooter to make that big of a difference. And I forget what they gave up for him, but it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's a shame that we don't have Murray in the lineup to kind of judge him properly. But he was great. He was brought in to be that third guy. Mm-hmm. But now he doesn't even, just watching this series, he doesn't even look like the second guy. I mean, he looks kind of lost.
Yeah, he's been off, man. That's all it is.
And Portland's been, you know, there's a theme, you know, going here since we've been talking about teams that have been together for multiple years. You see Portland, they've been together. Their core, talking about their core, they've been together for multiple years. And, you know, I ultimately think that's going to win out.
Yeah, I think it will.
It may go 7 games, but I think Portland will take it. I still feel that way.
If it goes 7 games, Portland's taking it. But if it's 6, it's going to be Denver in my opinion.
Oh wow. Okay, man.
If Murray didn't go down in the way that these playoffs are shaking out, Denver will be favored to win.
Exactly.
If with Porter Jr. and with Murray and with Jokic, they would be the favorites to win the championship. But alas, they don't have it, in my opinion. I don't. As far as Portland goes, he's not the type of dude to do this because he's just built different. But Damian Lillard needs to leave Portland.
Yep.
He is never going to win. His number 2 is CJ McCollum. I like CJ, but he ain't a number 2. Robert Covington is just Robert Covington. And Melo, come on now. It's like, so he's just going to keep he's gonna push, and it's just gonna he's just gonna look around and just like, I just don't have enough. But it's not in his DNA to be, I want to trade, I want this person, come play with it's not in him.
Too loyal of a
Oakland,
dude.
we talked about this before a long time ago. We talked about LA born basketball players, and I said Oakland dudes, they built different. Them dudes are, and here Oakland, they built different.
Yep.
He just signed a big contract like 2 years ago, right? 2-3 years ago.
He recently he signed an extension recently. Yeah. But my problem with Portland is Yusuf Nurkic has all the talent in the world. Yusuf Nurkic should really be the number 2 on that team.
Mm-hmm.
He should be the number 2 option on that team behind Damian Lillard.
Mm-hmm.
But between injuries, because he's had some brutal injuries, between injuries and just overall, I never really got that like I want it so bad from him. I feel like he kind of mooched off of Lillard and McCollum's talent, and he never really took that next step to set himself apart. Because if you remember, like maybe 2 years ago, him and Jokic were mentioned in the same circle.
Yes, they
were mentioned in the same sentence.
That's because they're from almost the same area. One from Serbia, one from Croatia.
But talent wise, talent wise, they were mentioned in the same sentence.
Mm-hmm.
But the combination of injuries and just bad luck with Nurkic kind of derailed them. And I don't, I really don't. I don't feel like he's really come back from it.
Yeah, because when as soon as Murray went down, man, I was like, oh, because at one point wasn't Denver in first place in the West?
Yeah,
at one point.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I was like, wow, okay. I said Denver might have a team, but then when Murray went down, I was like, oh man, that's like letting the air out. Up, there it is. It's over with now. And I think I told y'all that night. I said, oh man, that's gonna mess up their playoff run.
And speaking of teams being together, look how they have together. I mean, just a couple of years ago, they were the 2 seed. Last year, I think they were 3 seed. They were gelling and they're getting better. And they were actually that team that was just going up and up. And the fluke injury.
Yeah.
So
that'll do it.
Real briefly, looking back at this trade, Orlando traded Aaron Gordon to the Nuggets, and in return, they got Gary Harris, R.J. Hampton, and Denver's protected 2025 first-round pick off of Aaron Gordon. The other night, this was Aaron Gordon's stat line: 2 for 7 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, 4 rebounds, 18 minutes for 6 points, and a minus 30 plus minus. That's what you traded for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you traded for.
That'll make some people sick.
Stop letting these light-skinned dudes that can shoot fool you. It ain't all it's cracked up to be.
No, I think Gordon is living off that time. He won the slam dunk competition.
Oh, we're gonna talk about a light-skinned dude. That's after we're gonna talk about that one.
Well, let's go to Utah, man. Utah and Memphis, man.
I'm gonna start first. I'm gonna say this quick. I have not seen Utah play one game. I have no idea how good they are. I know how good Donovan Mitchell is, and I know how injury prone and always coming up short Mike Conley Jr. That's all I got.
Let me sum up Utah for you. I'm gonna just sum it up. You ever seen Duke play at their best?
Like what year?
Just any given year when Duke is at their best, like any given game where they're playing tough nose defense and their threes are falling.
The 1992 squad. Hello?
We lost your mic, B.
Okay, I thought it was me.
Nah. Yeah, your sound going, man. What happened, man?
Yeah, we can't hear you.
No, now you say you're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, you're on mute. You're on mute. Why he works this issue. This is why I choose Apple over Microsoft.
Yeah, your joint still say you're on mute. B.
Yeah.
We see the mute symbol by your name. The mic muted.
He left off. He's gonna come
Oh,
back.
you gonna come back in? But Utah, I watched them play, man, and like you said, that team has been together a while. Rudy Gobert, defensive player of the year. But it's like they're missing one piece, and I'm not sure what it is when I watch them play, because I was surprised they got the number one seed. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like, how the heck they get the number one seed?
They won all them games in a row. You know what? It's almost like Philly. They were just steady, while other teams were like up and down. They were just steady, and that steadiness got them the number one seed.
And it was weird, man, because I think I was on Twitter or something, and somebody said that they had the best record in the NBA, and I was like, best record in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking, like I said, I'm like, I watched them play, and now that you mention it, they were consistent. They will win like 5 to 6 games in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They might lose 3, but then they'll win like another 8 or 9 in a row.
Right.
Okay, I got it. I see what they did.
They went on those consistency runs while other teams were faltering, like Denver and the Lakers and Phoenix at one point in time was consistent. Then they fell off a little bit.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. As far as Memphis go, I like the young team. I like that young team.
They are young.
I just think they need to just build on it some more. That's just my thing. But I like that young team.
That's all. And K-Man, that's all they need to do. They got the pieces. You want it's like making a clay mold. You got the pieces there. You want it to be more gelled and more hardened.
Mm-hmm.
And once you get it hardened, then you be like, okay, we got a team now. We got something. We got foundation.
Right.
Yeah. Can y'all hear me now?
You're back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't. That's technology for you. Like, my Skype just said, "Oh, that's your audio box." Okay, screw that. Yeah, like it didn't even recognize it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted by technology, I was basically saying the Jazz, they really remind me of a Duke Blue Devils team firing on all cylinders, because their game is solely predicated around the 3-point shot. I think they average maybe 16.4 per game makes, like 3-point makes, which is, the best in league history. And so that's really what their game is predicated off of. Of course, Donovan Mitchell, he's great or whatever. And is really underrated on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, they love hoisting threes. And to their credit, they have the personnel to do it.
Mm-hmm.
They got everybody's favorite FedEx delivery person, Joe Ingles.
That's what he looked like too, that lefty shot.
Yeah.
He going ball.
Yeah.
They got, just like me and the K-Man was saying, B, the Jazz has been a consistent team, man. They've won like 8 or 9 in a row, and like then they might lose 2, but then they'll get back on the run again. They'll win like 5 or 6 in a row. But
and there's a reason why I compared them to Duke. Quinn Snyder's their coach. Quinn Snyder learned up under Mike
Mike Krzyzewski, yeah.
Mike Coach K. So
Quinn Snyder hair looked like it never moves. He looked like he one of them preppy kids, man, from back in the 80s.
He went to Duke.
there you go.
That is the ultimate preppy school.
Yep.
Look like he just had mousse in his hair, man. Like, come on, man.
He always looks like he's gonna go up in the stands and kill someone. Like he just has that look about him.
Man.
He reminds me. You remember Percy Wetmore from the Green Mile, the security guard.
Yeah,
the guard that was kind of off.
Yeah,
that's who he reminds me of. Like he got this creep look about him. Cool dude, calm, but he just looks like a serial killer creep. Crazy.
He does, man. He really does. I thought it was just me because his eyes. I'd be like, when I saw him one time, I said, man, like you said, be like he about to go kill somebody.
Yeah.
He might find some bodies up under his backyard or something. But
all right. So we talked about these series.
Yep.
What do you think about the rest of the playoffs going forward? What do you guys think?
A lot of it, and you know, this is sad, but it's true. A lot of the playoffs, a lot of the remainder of the playoffs rest on the fate of what LeBron does. and like, if we fall to the Suns, then viewership's gonna go down. You know, people
you're probably right.
Oh no, there's no doubt about it. Because if the Lakers are not in the playoffs, right, and say the Nets get to the finals, ain't nobody watching that.
Nope.
Because they're the New Jersey Nets. I don't care where they locate. They're the New Jersey Nets. They're not the New York Knicks.
Right. So, but I mean, overall, in a nutshell, I think the top teams are outside of Philly. The top teams are so much better than the other teams.
Yeah.
That is, we're not going to really see any surprises. And, you know, with our series, you kind of swap those seeding numbers a little bit. Mm-hmm. Or I would say with AD, with a healthy AD, you could easily swap those series numbers. Mm-hmm. And so nobody should be really completely surprised still if we beat Phoenix, just because of how young and inexperienced they are.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, just, you know, I love Ja Morant. He's going to be phenomenal. Dylan Brooks, not so much. He talks a lot. He again, light skin, good hair. You know, he.
I got something to say about that. No, it's not even Jonan. I have something to say about it.
But yeah, Memphis, they're a lot like Phoenix to me.
Yeah.
I don't know a ton about their coach. They have a young coach. I think he's still in his 30s. But they're a young team, they're a young up and coming team, and Ja Morant needs a real number 2.
Yeah, true that. I agree with you on that one, man.
I will say this about Dylan Brooks. I mean, whatever Brooks' name. Because of his hair and the way it gets wet, he telegraphs everywhere he's going to go. Now, unfortunately, as a basketball player, you're looking at him at the face. But I remember watching his games, like, everywhere I was like, he about to go left. He's going to go right. I was like, because of his hair, I'm like, dude, he need a Darren Williams that thing. He need to take it down some. Because he's giving he's going to get, if somebody taller, look, they're going to see it.
Yeah. Can't argue that.
Yeah. My thing is this. I feel, looking at this, now I gotta, maybe this is a premature thing, because that's, once again, I still haven't seen Utah play. But I'm right now thinking whoever wins the Nets-Bucks series is going to be NBA champs.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can give you that one.
I can see that.
I can give you that.
I will not argue it because before the playoffs started, I had my doubts about the Nets and with Steve Nash being a rookie head coach and him not. Yeah, I mean, we saw how he would. We saw that he just looks like he's not coaching that team.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't do a good job. He doesn't do a very good job of hiding it.
No.
Whenever they show him on the bench, he's sitting there, with his hands clasped together. He doesn't even get up.
Yeah. You know, he reminds me of Steve Kerr.
Yeah,
Mm.
I can see that.
Alvin Gentry, the coach of that team. They won that first championship.
Yep.
I give you that.
I will not argue that.
Luke Walton is the one that got them to the point where they're 73-9. But when Kerr took over, his deficiencies happened to take over too.
You got to think the Nets have some good assistant coaches, man. That were former head coaches.
Oh yeah,
on the staff, man.
I still think Jacques Vaughn should be the head coach.
Mike D'Antoni. What better assistant coach would you want? Yeah, he never took a team to the promised land, but he's still a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Jason Kidd?
He's with us.
Okay, that's what I saw. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, what I was gonna say, I talked about just not knowing what they're gonna look like, and then Steve Nash's greenness as a head coach. But seeing the Nets in this series, in the Boston series, and seeing how bought in they are on defense, that was one of the main things I was concerned about, especially with Steve Nash as a coach and Mike D'Antoni as an assistant, is how bought in are they going to be on the defensive side of the ball. And they look at least the majority of the time they look locked in on that side of the ball. So if it comes down, if it just comes down to that, I think them in Milwaukee will be a wash. But of course, the Nets have the edge in firepower because Giannis still doesn't have moves.
No,
and he still relies on bigger and faster than you, and most nights it work, but against a team like Brooklyn, won't work.
Yeah, he shoot too many threes for me, man. Giannis. I'm looking like, dude, what are you doing, man?
Yep.
Real quick before we move on, who's the better shooter, Giannis or Ben Simmons?
Giannis.
That was Blake.
Yeah. Ben Simmons doesn't have a jump shot.
Say what you want about Giannis. But Giannis is confident in his shot. He'll put it up.
He is.
And you need confidence in taking a shot. Now, I never noticed that Giannis takes forever in a day to shoot a free throw. I never noticed that.
I had it's like 10 seconds, man, almost 10 seconds. It's like when he's releasing the ball, it's at 10 seconds.
Yeah.
What we moving on to? Where we going?
I got just one little thing. I hate the NBA in this form, and I hate because of Twitter and these lame ass. And I said lame ass. I don't care. I'm keeping this in. What's that? These lame, and I'm gonna say it for 13. These lame ass reporters. You, for the longest time, you push this guy as to be something, and all of us everyone kept saying he only this because of Clay. He only this because of KD. And everybody's like, wait, okay, he's gonna be unlocked this year. They couldn't even make the playoffs. They could not make the playoffs. The narrative was he got into the MVP conversation because he went off. He lost a lot of those games too. Fraud. He is a fraud. Don't ever say that he's the best player. Don't ever say that he's the best shooter in this league, because there's a caveat. You go, he's the best shooter in NBA history based on the rules of today. Could he get his shot off? I'm not even going 90. I'm just going, could he get his shot off in 05?
Nah.
Who was the premier defender in 05?
Ron Artest.
Ron, yeah, that's right. Ron was still at the peak of his defensive power.
Bruce Bowen.
They would have D'd him up real fast.
Steven Jackson.
Chauncey Billups.
Oh, yeah.
Richard Hamilton.
Oh, yeah, man. It wouldn't even be close. But for some reason, like you said, K-Man, people are calling him the greatest shooter of this era right now.
Yeah, because it's Twitter. It's Twitter highlights and stuff like that. It's just like these meme stocks that I'm starting to hear about, or meme coins. At the end of the day, they're nothing. They don't do anything. They're just some people pushing it up. But there's no ground floor to it. I'm not here to say that he's overrated. Or he's trash. He is a good player. He's a Hall of Fame player. He's a great shooter. But he is not the person that you people think he is. At one point in time, I think when they were announcing the MVP, Shaq said he was the best player in the league. Stop it. Stop it. His unanimous MVP is trash. He has never, ever, ever been the best player in this league.
Well, what happened when Clay went down? He got exposed. That's basically what happened, man. He got it because people were saying when Clay was healthy that Steph was leading the team and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when a key component goes down, and you try to run everything yourself and you can't, that's when it's like, okay, we see who you really are now. The truth is coming out. But Clay didn't make that team. You know, they had Draymond, they had my thing is after KD left, I knew they weren't going back.
Yeah.
I knew that. And Steph can't carry that whole team on his back. Can't do that.
This isn't popular. This isn't a popular thing to say. To me, Clay's a better shooter than.
Oh, absolutely. Quicker release.
Clay is, but Steph is only deadly from behind the 3-point line. Clay is deadly from wherever he decides to let it go. Be it in the paint, be it 18 feet out, 25 feet out. He's deadly from anywhere.
Go watch that game where he had 50 and 3/4.
Yeah.
Go watch. Look, awesome. That turned me around on him. I was like, oh, and then he can play defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mama call him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
Yeah,
So that was my little rant on Stephen Curry. Next thing we're gonna get to
quickly.
is quickly. But it might not be a quick subject because the escalation of these foolish fans.
Well, we can always leave a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Don't get me started on that, man.
First the popcorn with Russ, then the spitting on Trey. Now the throwing of the bottle at Kyrie. Oh,
and then the idiot running on the court last night.
Yeah,
the Wizards in the 76ers game.
Yeah,
even though that was different.
Yeah,
there wasn't any malice involved in that. It was stupid, but it's still there wasn't any ill intent on that. That was just some idiot looking for his 5 seconds of fame.
Exactly. Right. That's all that was. But something should be done to the fans.
Well, yeah, you got the one fan, and then I don't know if the other guy was with him. The guys in Boston, they actually got arrested. They're they're facing felony charges of assault, and which I said in the beginning. That morning I said they should be charged with assault. Like he should be charged with assault. It's getting it has already gotten out of hand. We don't have to guess what the intent was or what the motive was in Boston because of it being Boston.
Right.
But at what point, and I mean, I guess it's different because Chris Paul, he's currently involved in a playoff series. And so, him being quiet on the subject so far it hasn't surprised me, and I don't fault him for that. I mean, his team is right smack dab in the middle of a playoff series with a legitimate shot to win it. So
Right.
I don't fault him for not coming out and saying anything, on behalf of the players or whatever. But there has to be some precaution. There has to be more proactiveness on the side of the league in creating a buffer, creating more of a buffer between these players and these fans. Team security is not enough. It's not enough anymore. Team security didn't hit that. I mean, they didn't keep Kyrie from being almost hit in the head with a bottle. Now, I will say that, fans are really they see how soft the league is. And so they're kind of taking advantage of the situation. What I would want to know is, would you have thrown that bottle at Ron Artest?
Or Steven Jackson?
Would you have thrown that bottle at Steven Jackson? Would you have thrown that bottle at Matt Barnes? Would you have thrown that bottle at Rasheed Wallace?
Ben Wallace.
Yeah, any of these dudes. And the answer is flat out no. Because the league and the league culture is soft. And this is a byproduct of it. Because they know that we're never going to see another Malice in the Palace.
Oh.
They know that that's never going to happen again. And so you got these cowards who show up to these games, want to taunt players, and don't think there's going to be any retaliation. That's why this one incident in Boston, and then the other, these people need to be made examples out of.
All entitled Northeast fans. Remember, all this has happened in the Northeast. Philly, New York, DC, and Boston.
Here's my take, man. I don't think it's because the league is soft. I'm thinking this stuff is happening because people want money. They know if they hit one of them NBA players, NBA player reacts. NBA player is going to come up there and try to assault them. Then they can sue. Get the money and say, "Oh yeah, I need $4 million for all my pain and anguish. I gotta pay. He broke a tooth. I gotta get another tooth. That's $1 million." That's why a lot of them people are doing that, man. I'm telling you, they're looking for a reaction from the player to go up there and say something to them. Because a player right now got to do is just breathe on somebody and they fall over. Oh man! And of course, the front office is going to say, "Hey, look, let's settle this out of court," and we all know what that means. Backing up the truck, cha-ching.
Well, my only rebuttal to that is the one thing that lets me know that it's really not money motivated. You got to be kind of close. You got to be sitting kind of close in order to do these things. Trae Young got sped on by somebody, or nearly sped on by somebody that was like a row or two off the court.
Right.
Mm.
Kyrie got a bottle thrown at him from someone in the lower level. You see, these are people that, pay good money to sit this close. Now granted, I know that stadiums or arenas aren't operating at full capacity. Sometimes people may be able to come down from the upper levels. I get it. But that's the only thing that kind of makes me wonder if it's really money motivated. I mean, like just the proximity of these incidents, like where these people where these individuals were seated.
I think it's an entitlement of NBA fans. I paid my good money. My what did you say, Sean? Was we go in there, we pay their salaries. No, we don't. No, we don't. You're paying to get there, and you're paying to get some popcorn and beer and nachos and cheese with steak and cheese. That's it. That's all you're playing for.
The only reason I say that, man, because just like with NFL players, when just like with Aaron Donald beat some dude, another dude want to sue Aaron Donald.
Okay, that was like no, he was starting something. He was trying to get paid. That was a
right,
and that wasn't a sporting event. That was at a get together or something, or party or something.
Yeah, but that's just like any professional athlete, man. When people know you have money, they're gonna test you just to get you out of your box, and then pull out the cell phone, probably record it, and they're gonna, hey, look, I know K man, he's worth about 50 million. He can give me 300-400 grand. Yeah, if you don't want it in the media. And then like B, little Braden out there, he get in a fight with somebody, they're gonna sue. They're gonna probably tap you on the shoulder, B. Hey man, look, we can make this go away.
all I have to say about this is we're getting close to a point where we're going to enter the second round. I think if the NBA was smart, all the teams that are eliminated, I think you should pay that team's arena security for extra security in various playoff arenas. So double up this, and then when you get to the Eastern Conference, do it again to make sure this doesn't escalate.
And to your point, K man, all this stuff happening in the Northeast part of America, and I told y'all before, when back in the 80s, when they had Big East college basketball, Villanova and Georgetown, Seton Hall and all them, they called it the thug ball. They say the majority of these dudes was from like the hood and up in New York City, all these other cities big cities, right? These dudes were hoods. That's what they called it, thug ball.
With
I'm telling you. Go ahead, B.
Yeah, there's one incident that we didn't mention. It didn't, of course, it didn't get as much attention. Was the taunting and harassment that Ja Morant's parents endured in Utah.
Mm.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if everybody saw or read what was said, but I don't know how Ja Morant's father didn't come to blows with the dude. Dude basically told his father, "I'll put a nickel on your back and watch you dance, boy."
Mm.
That's what he said to him. And then another person called his wife, called Ja Morant's mom. They basically called her a B, a stupid, shut the F up B.
Mm.
Now they did get thrown out. Thankfully there were some fans around that area that had some sense, and Sink called them out and got security or whatever. But again, that was blatant. These other incidents, I think, were more subtly racially motivated.
I will say this: for everything those incidents of everything that happened in those cities, we talk those Northeast cities, there haven't really been like that much pattern to it. Utah has a pattern of this. Remember Russell Westbrook in the playoffs? They got a pattern of this. There's some stuff rumbling that came out in the 98 series. The players have said certain things about these Utah Jazz players. I mean, fans. So they have a pattern. They got a new owner, and he needs to clean that up.
Yeah, it's the same thing was said about Boston.
Yeah.
They say the fans in Boston, but then you got Kendrick Perkins somewhere. I played there and I didn't hear nothing racist. So my best friends are white. I'm looking at him like,
like, let me tell you something right now. When it comes to Boston Celtics, go talk to Bill Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Go talk to Bill Russell. if any player who looks like me can say what Kendrick Perkins said, they need to go talk to Mr. Russell and let him educate you on the city of Boston.
Shoot, even Robert Parrish.
Yeah.
He was there for a minute.
Casey Jones is dead.
Who was the guy? Who was the other guy?
I wonder if Kevin Garnett heard something. Him and Ray Allen, all them dudes.
I don't know.
Because I've heard some of the Boston. I've heard some of the Boston Red Sox players saying stuff about the fans.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, talk to Mookie Betts.
Big Poppy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not. That's what I'm talking about. He's mentioned it. And I was like, man, okay. But those two places, Boston, and I know like Salt Lake City with Utah, known for it, man, known for it. But somebody brought up, that's a fan's job, right? It's to come, especially if you playing for the other team to get, to heckle and mess with the other team. But you can only take it so far, and I get what you're saying. Some people take stuff overboard.
Heckling is you trash and you overrated and you don't deserve your contract. Not to say something derogatory based on your race or your gender or your ethnicity. That's just wrong.
And to threaten said player's family.
Yeah. I say a lot of things about players. But I don't go there.
Yeah, some of that stuff that happened, man. And when I watch these games and I'm looked at them and seeing the stuff happen, I'm looking like, wow. And some people, said that it's like I said, it's entitlement, it's privilege. Because they think they can get away with it. Because the players are like African American.
Yeah, I was actually shocked that dude in Boston got arrested.
Yeah,
I seen a ban coming. I mean, I knew that they would probably ban him for life, but I was shocked.
Oh, the mayor of Boston, because the former mayor is now the labor secretary. The mayor of Boston is a black woman. So,
wow, I ain't know that. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna shoot. Not gonna do parting shots because we pretty much talked. I got a parting shot for all of y'all. It's June 1. The deadline the NFL uses where you can trade someone or cut someone to save money. Where do we think one Julio Jones is going?
Seattle.
New England.
Okay. I got Baltimore.
See, the thing that scared me, the thing that makes me pause about Baltimore is because I see this headline a lot, or like with Dallas and our free agency approach. I see this headline a lot. It'll say we're interested in a player. We'll have talks about a player for the right price.
Right.
To me, that says we're too cheap to pay what's being asked. Now, it did come out that the Falcons are they've backed off of their demand for a first round pick, and it'll take a second because they don't want to pay any of that 38 or 36, whatever it is, million that that they owe him. And so I don't know what did. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Baltimore did a trade. They did a trade with Kansas City.
Yeah.
So what did they get in return for who was it? Brown? Who they traded
for
to
Brown.
Kansas City?
Yeah. They got Kansas City's the 31st pick. They did a swap pick, and then they got another pick.
Now that makes me kind of gives me a little, I don't know. That may edge Baltimore on, given that they have a little bit extra capital to throw towards a deal. But I ultimately feel like it's going to be New England because simply you haven't heard anything from New England. You haven't heard Bill Belichick say anything.
The reason why I think it's Baltimore and not the other team is because I think because Julio's been him and his agents have been really, really good. I think Julio is going to try to rip up that deal and get new money. And Baltimore is the only team I can think of that got free money. New England went on the spending spree. Seattle was locked up with Russ and Adams.
Yeah,
I just don't think they had the money.
And then they gotta pay what's the guy? What DK? They gotta pay DK.
Yeah,
coming up.
Wow. I never knew. I know. I like what Fontenot did, asking for a 1, but he knew he won't get no 1 because I gotta give you a 1 and take that contract. Come on now.
And plus, Julio's been like injury prone.
Yeah.
That and he's on the wrong side of 30.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
that's why I already knew nobody was going to give him a 1 for that.
And he's a wide receiver, and wide receivers and corners drop off quickly like that.
Yeah.
Yep. So, that's my take.
Ooh. All right, people.
All right.
Been real deal Holyfield.
Yeah. We gave you almost 2 hours. Now I got to go get yelled at.
Yeah, look. I hear mine upstairs slinging pots around.
My wife won't yell.
Mine won't either. So.
She'll just look and turn her back and go to sleep.
Yeah, she'll say something to me smart. Why should I go upstairs?
So if you're listening to this, please tell all your friends to like and subscribe, because I don't want all this in vain.
Exactly. And watch all the ads too. Don't be clicking through the ads. Watch the ads.
Oh, snap. All right, man.
All right,
bro.
All right.
I'll catch up with
I'll holler at y'all, man.
All right. Peace.
Later.
All right.